Good evening, and welcome to the 38th annual celebration of the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame. I am PJ Hubbard, a Junior Achievement Student Ambassador and an 8th grader at William J. Clark Middle School in Orangeburg. It is an honor to be here at the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame for the second year in a row. I am excited to be in the room with each of you as we celebrate the best in business so that students like me can be inspired to build thriving communities in South Carolina. This past school year, I was able to participate in Junior Achievement. And through the JA program, I was able to learn about careers and opportunities that are available to me one day. I also learned how hard work is critical to my long-term success. With hard work, one day I will be a part of building a thriving community where I live in South Carolina. Tonight, I'm looking forward to learning about our 3 honorees and how their hard work has made South Carolina a great place to live, work, and play. The tradition of the Business Hall of Fame was started in 1985, and every year except for 2, the Hall of Fame has inducted businessmen and businesswomen from our state. Each one of these laureates brings a high standard and is an example for all of us to follow. I know I'm in for a treat tonight to learn about and be inspired by Mr. Fennell, Mr. Spinks, and Mrs. Wilkerson. Tonight is about what each one of them has accomplished in business. I, along with other students in South Carolina, will learn of their legacy and aspire to achieve and accomplish excellence in our own careers one day. At this time, I would like to invite to the stage my fellow Junior Achievement Student Ambassadors, Ann Fulton Montgomery and Will Farr. They will now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ann Fulton and Will. Good evening. I'm Banks McGlohorn, a 10th grader at Chapin High School. Tonight is my 9th time attending the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame, and I've been fortunate to be a student who has been able to see the best in business from our state during that time. For 38 years, the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame Committee has been tasked with making the decision of who is selected to be in the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame. While that task is never easy, the committee believes the honorees tonight truly represent South Carolina's best in business. The Palmetto State's economy is strong. Through Junior Achievement, I've learned about the many careers I can have living in South Carolina. Here in our state, we manufacture cars, tires, planes, and various other products. We have a need for the financial sector jobs, along with other services offered to businesses so that they can succeed. Our 3 laureates being honored tonight have each charted a successful path to be where they are today, and we know our state is better because of the contributions they have made. Now more than ever, we need to be inspiring students just like me to build thriving communities in South Carolina, and each one of our laureates tonight have done just that. Tonight, we honor Mr. George Fennell, Mr. Stuart Spinks, and Mrs. Kim Wilkerson, all of whom have done great things in their respective businesses and communities. While each achieved greatness in a different industry, each carry common values that represent the Business Hall of Fame. Those values are integrity, leadership, respect, and excellence. Tonight, you'll get to hear exactly how they live these values in the business community and in their personal lives. As we think about South Carolina's future workforce, I hope that you think about students just like me, who are inspired by the Business Hall of Fame laureates. Students like me know that our future will be brighter if we can instill these values that these laureates exemplify. Junior Achievement and the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame truly work together to honor the best in business, while at the same time inspiring future generations in business. That's what tonight is all about as we honor Mr. Fennell, Mr. Spinks, and Mrs. Wilkerson. At this time, I would like to introduce Louise Montgomery, a fifth grader at Brennan Elementary.
Thank you, Banks. Each year, the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame is made possible by our sponsors who recognize the importance of honoring the best in business, like Mr. Fennell, Mr. Spinks, and Miss Wilkerson. Our presenting sponsor again this year is Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Carolina. We know over the last 3 years your industry has been challenged, but your commitment to continue to build communities in South Carolina has risen to the top. We are grateful for their support of honoring our laureates so they can inspire students like Banks and me. Our platinum sponsor tonight is Planned Administrators Incorporated. Each year, PAI continues to sponsor the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame so students in our state, like me, can learn business skills for the future. Our ambassador sponsor is Truist Bank. Thank you, Truist. With your support, students like me can attend the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame. Our reception sponsor are Nelson Mullins and Verizon. We are grateful for their support of sponsoring our reception earlier this evening. Our honored table guest sponsors tonight is Carolina Gas Transmission, Contech, and Public Supermarket Charities. Each one of you are committed to honoring the best in business to inspire the future. Thank you. Our in-kind donors tonight are Blue Choice Health Plan, who graciously provide all the printing for the Business Hall of Fame. South Carolina Biz Magazine is our media partner tonight, and you will receive a copy of South Carolina Biz Magazine after this program that tells you the story of each of our laureates we are honoring tonight. Thank you to Granger Owens for donating the tuxedos for my fellow student ambassadors to wear. With all the recognitions I have shared tonight, please note that the Junior Achievement realizes this event could not continue to be the state's premier business event without friends like you. So thank you for being here.
Thanks, Louise. Now, let's begin by announcing our past laureates who are here with us this evening. Join me in welcoming these past honorees as they are introduced by their Junior Achievement student ambassadors. As a reminder, past laureates, please stand to be recognized when you are introduced, and then feel free to be seated. First, Mr. Pat McKinney by Louise Montgomery.
Mr. Pat McKinney is a Georgia native who moved to South Carolina in 1971, became active in real estate. Not only is he active in real estate, but has been instrumental in the sales of many of the prime beach developments in our state. He was an instrumental player in the Kiowa Island purchase back from the Kuwaitis in 1988. Also, as a former chairman of the South Carolina Ports Authority, he is passionate about business in our state. Please welcome Pat McKinney.
Good evening. I am Banks McLowhorn, and tonight I'm going to introduce Mr. Bill Barnett. He and I have been attending the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame for the past 8 years together. Mr. Barnett has been an instrumental part of Spartanburg over the years. He has been the mayor of Spartanburg, a successful businessman, and continues to do numerous things to improve the Spartanburg community. He once said, "Believe you are going to be successful, and chances are that you will succeed." Please welcome Bill Barnett.
Hello, I'm Hannah Thomas, a fourth grader from Giger Elementary in Fairfield County. Ms. Shaw knows about money, schools, and communities. She thinks people should be responsible for their actions and strive to live by the golden rule. Ms. Shaw has shown this through her work in education, healthcare, financial institutions, philanthropic, and civic organizations. The example she sets for giving back to the community is the one that I hope to model in the years to come. As a South Carolina Business Hall of Fame laureate since 2012, please welcome Ms. Minor Mickle Shaw.
I'm Katie Farr, a 7th grader at Cardinal Newman. Tonight I am going to introduce Mr. Smythe McKissick. Mr. McKissick is a 4th-generation leader of Alice Manufacturing in the upstate. Since 1988, he has served as the president and CEO. Through his work in the textile industry, he has been a leader in the textile industry and has received many honors for his work. He has a college degree from Clemson University and serves as a life trustee for the university. He continues to be a supporter of his community and investing in education, senior citizens, and many others. Most importantly, he has given more than 80 scholarships to his employees, children, and grandchildren. Mr. Smythe McKissick.
Good evening. I am Brooks McLowhorn, and I'm in the 8th grade at Chafin Middle School. Tonight, I have the privilege to introduce Mr. Bob Hughes. A 2018 inductee in the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame, Mr. Bob Hughes has made an impact on real estate development in South Carolina. Throughout his 40 years in commercial real estate, he has learned early that serving the client well while being responsive to the community provides the best balance for success. He cares about each community he works with. Please help me welcome Mr. Bob Hughes.
Hello, I am Carter Farr, a 7th grader at Cardinal Newman. Tonight I would like to introduce Mr. Joel Smith. Rarely will you find an individual who has been so successful in as many different arenas as Mr. Joel Smith has, in the military, the banking industry, and in education, to name a few. Mr. Smith's career inspires me to follow my passions and set high goals. I take my academics seriously so that I can one day achieve my goals just like Mr. Smith. Please welcome Mr. Joel Smith.
Thank you. Lastly, Mr. Jack McBride by Ben Bronson.
Mr. McBride is a true entrepreneur. Over 30 years ago, Mr. McBride started Contec after beginning his career at Milliken. Contec is a global manufacturer of wipes, disinfectants, and mopping systems that are used in clean rooms and healthcare. Mr. McBride serves as the CEO of the company today. He employs over 700 employees, 500 of which are here in South Carolina. Mr. McBride also cares about the Spartanburg community. He is very active in giving of his time, his employees' time, and funds to make Spartanburg be the best it can be. Mr. McBride models what a successful entrepreneur looks like. A 2022 South Carolina Business Hall of Fame laureate, Mr. Jack McBride.
Thank you all for being here with us tonight. We recognize that your attendance is a commitment they make each year, and we are grateful for that. Please join me in thanking these individuals who inspire our youth with their legacy of leadership in South Carolina. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ben Bronson, an 11th grader from Daniel High School. He will acknowledge our laureates who are no longer with us. Some of these laureates have guests or family members in attendance this evening.
Buck Mickle stressed the importance of remembering our friends. As you all entered the ballroom this evening, the Sentimental Journey was playing on the screens to pay respect to those laureates who are no longer with us today. We recognize our Hall of Fame family members who proudly represent our deceased laureates and laureates who could not be here with us tonight. When your name is called, please stand and continue to stand as we call all the names. We ask that you hold your applause until all have been recognized. John Lumpkin Jr. is representing his father, John Lumpkin Sr. Representing her father, Buck Mickle, is Minor Shaw. Charles Clark Mickle, representing his great-uncle, Charlie Daniel. Smythe McKissick, representing his father, Ellison McKissick Jr., and his great-grandfather, Mr. Foster McKissick. Mr. Albert Sotilli is representing his granddaughter, Mary Ellen Way. Leonard Way is representing his great-grandfather, J.C. Long. Please join me in welcoming the Hall of Fame representatives. Please welcome Carter Farr to the stage to remember our laureates who have passed away.
As you have heard, the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame is a family. The family lost 3 laureates this year. Jerry Richardson was inducted into the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame in 2006. Let's hear a few words from Mr. Richardson.
First, I'm grateful to my parents who taught me at an early age the value of hard work, being courteous, and being thoughtful and respectful to others. I'm grateful for the countless business associates that have been so supportive throughout my career, and thanks in particular to Hugh McCall for humoring me in 1987 when we began our Carolinas NFL journey, and especially for being such a huge influence and supporter in helping us become the 29th franchise in the National Football League.
Tonight, we remember the life of Mr. Richardson and are grateful for his contribution to business in South Carolina. In 2005, Mr. Charles Way, Jr. was inducted into the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame. As we remember Mr. Way, let's listen to a few words from him.
Their lives and example taught me many things, but the most important of these was that nothing on earth was as important as your family. To always be honest in all of your business dealings and to respect your fellow man, especially those who were less fortunate than you. These are guidelines that I have tried to live by.
As you can see, Mr. Way was dedicated South Carolina Business Hall of Fame laureate. He is greatly missed. Here to remember the late Charlie Way are his wife, Mary Ellen Way, and his son, Leonard Way. Please stand to be recognized. Also, this past year, we lost South Carolina Business Hall of Fame laureate, Mr. Joseph Blanchard. Mr. Blanchard was inducted into the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame in 2015. Let's remember him tonight, hearing from him directly.
One of the key things that you learn as a leader is people want to be heard. They want to feel that they have a voice. They want to feel that their voice is important and that it's listened to. That one-on-one interaction, to be able to have a debate or discourse on a subject which you may not see eye to eye with somebody, but trying to understand their viewpoint. I think that's something that's really lost as prevalent as social media is now, and that's something that I hope we see the pendulum swing back more to where people can have a pleasant conversation even though they may not agree on the subject matter.
Mr. Blanchard never missed a South Carolina Business Hall of Fame event since his induction. He is greatly missed. Here to remember him tonight are his 3 children, Boyd, Catherine, and Roger. Please stand to be recognized.
Thank you, Carter.
Wow, hadn't these students been just fabulous? I'm inspired. I'm Tyler Hudson, and I have the privilege of chairing the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame Committee. Tonight's a special night, and want to thank many that have helped to make it happen. First of all, the Business Hall of Fame Committee, the Junior Achievement Board, and the 3 district boards. Without your support, this program would not be possible. The work each one of you put in supporting junior achievement and the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame is invaluable. For that, I'm thankful, and please stand to be recognized. I also want to recognize a special guest here tonight, the president of Clemson University, Mr. Jim Clements. Thank you for being here and for your support. Now, Katie Farr, a 7th grader at Cardinal Newman School in Columbia, will deliver our invocation.
Let us pray. We are thankful to be gathered here to celebrate men and women who have made this state of South Carolina a better place. In all of this, Lord, we are reminded that all success, health, joy, and wisdom are gifts from you. We are humbled by your mercy and generosity and are grateful for the opportunities and talents you have bestowed upon us. Bless this food and the hands that prepare it. Amen.
We'll now break for dinner and return shortly. Enjoy your meal. But now is the time for which we all came tonight to see some of the best in business inducted into the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame. At this time, I would like to ask Mr. Fennell, Mr. Spinks, and Mrs. Wilkerson to please join me on stage. Our first honoree is Mr. George Fennell, CEO of Fennell Holdings, Inc.
Integrity, honesty, dependability.
It's been 40 years. I should be paying him versus him paying me for the experience.
It's hard being a son working for a father, but I would not be where I'm at today without working for him.
I was born in Waldoboro, South Carolina, Carleton County, 1943. My father was a farmer, and he also was in the logging business. My father was a great guy. He gave me and taught me the best of work ethics and the way to accomplish things and get things done and done right. My mother was a housewife. She was a beautiful woman, a lovely lady, and she did everything to make everybody happy in the family. After high school, my father said, "George, I want you to go off and get an education and get a job with a white shirt and a tie." I left out to go to University of Georgia my freshman year with tears in my eyes. My mother was crying, my daddy was crying, my uncle was there, he was crying, my sister was clapping. I met a young lady through a blind date, and we just loved at first sight, and 6 months I was married at the end of my junior year. After I graduated from the University of Georgia, we had what they call a career day. I had a company called Darren Milligan offered me more money to come to work with them as a management trainee than the other companies offered. My wife asked me, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going with the company who's offering me the most money. They must see something in me the rest of them didn't." While I was there, I had one of the plant engineers come to me, said, George, I need you to help me with something. This is a plant engineer. And I said, what can I help you with? He says, I've been assigned a project to reduce the amount of the waste in this company. And I came back to him after several weeks and told Dave Rose, the engineer, I said, Dave, I got some good information. Based on all the information I got through the purchases and everything, I can show you how to save 25% on what it's costing you, to reduce your cost 25% out of this particular plant. I said, but I got another proposition for you. He said, what's that? I said, I'm gonna quit my job and I'm gonna do this full time.
He started in Walterboro and then eventually moved to Charleston with the waste company because there was only so much growth in that business in Walterboro.
It's in vogue now, but back in those days, it was not in vogue. It was garbage. You could see the leadership in him from day one. And you knew he meant business. George has been way in front of all the other waste companies, just had an ability and a knack for knowing where the industry was going.
It evolved where my father was a privately held company and actually became and grew it to be the largest privately held company in the state of South Carolina in service and waste.
His entrepreneurial spirit, first with Fennell Container Company and then with all of the hospitality business that he's in, it's kind of unusual for somebody to do it as well as he's done it and as successful as he's done it once. He's done it numerous times.
When I got in business for myself, I applied all those goals that I tried to achieve when I was working on the farm. The biggest thing was, trying to educate young people to do it and do it right and do it the best they can or don't do it at all.
For an employee standpoint, he's a player's coach, which means that he's right in there with us.
He's got a tree of very successful waste professionals in this industry it's pretty significant.
To this day, I have so many people calling me on a regular basis, Christmas time especially, sending cards. They used to work for me 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I just sending me cards, thanking me for everything. They miss me, want to see me, and it makes me feel good.
George is very philanthropic. He hasn't taken all this money that he's made and just frivol it away. He's done God's work.
The Lord has been there for me. The Lord's been my leader. The Lord's been my co-pilot.
There's very few people in the state has had an impact in waste as what he has. He was I think only one or two inductees in the state of South Carolina to the National Solid Waste Hall of Fame.
He's a competitor and enjoyed and still enjoys being in the game.
He didn't really ask for this, didn't really know about this award, but we're, I think, no more person better deserving.
I couldn't think of anybody better that would deserve this more than George Fennell.
There's so many other people in South Carolina that are well qualified to receive this prestigious award too, and I feel honored to be just part of that group that's there and hoping for the future group.
Please welcome Mr. George Fennell into the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame.
It won't take long. I think the picture said more than I can tell you today. But I would like to say it's an honor and a privilege to be inducted into the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame. I'm joined here this evening with my family and business team. I would like to introduce my wife of 56 years, and I'd like her to stand up if she don't mind. And also my son Scott and his wife Leslie, and their son and my grandson Wilson. You stand up. My daughter Allison and my grandson Sullivan, and I'd like for you to stand up as well. Unfortunately, I got one more granddaughter's not here tonight, but we're going to miss her. She said that she was very sorry. She texted me earlier about not being able to make it, and I understand. As you know, it takes a great team to be successful in any business. Also, I'd like to have my business team members stand up to be recognized for many years of service to our organization. But y'all stand up, please. Once again, these are the ones that really make it happen. I'm just kind of like in a rowboat, they all pulling oars and I'm holding the keel, and I just kind of direct her left to right. Hopefully I don't hit a sandbar. If I did, I wouldn't admit it. But anyhow, these are the ones that really make it happen. And I'm very humbled to have them here today and appreciate so much what they do. Once again, thank you for bestowing this honor upon me this evening. And also thank you to everyone who was involved with my nomination, including Bill Medic of South State Bank and Virginia Achievements for hosting this wonderful ceremony. I will again thank you every bit of what you've done for me. Amen.
Your humility certainly shows through, but thank you for all you've done for South Carolina. And I know your family and company have seen it firsthand and appreciate it, so thank you. Our next honoree is Mr. Stuart Spinks, who is founder and chairman of the Spinks Company.
I was asked to write a letter about him recently. I said, what shocks me is that I'm writing this letter because it feels to me like everybody ought to already know all this stuff. Except, in doing a little research for this letter, I discovered all this extra stuff.
I was born in Charleston, South Carolina, in 1946. My dad was in the service. My mom and dad met in Charleston. As soon as the war was over, Dad moved back to his hometown of Augusta, Georgia. So I grew up in Augusta. His influence over me was pretty dramatic. It was a working class, modest family. My interests really were around sports. I had the good fortune of having people in my life that influenced me to not only enjoy the sports, but get really good at it, to ultimately lead me to a full scholarship to the University of Tennessee.
He didn't start out with any advantages other than parents who were very loving and wanted to see him succeed.
I finished college in 1968, the highest point of the Vietnam War. I had my military obligation. That enabled me to have a tremendous choice of employers. I chose Shell. The company was going to teach me how to coach these service station dealers and mentor them and help them be more successful. Well, the lesson was I learned to run a small business. At this point in time, I had 2 children, just like my dad. I had to figure out what was the next step. I knew how to run a small business. I had this opportunity here because this service station dealer was retiring, and I negotiated a purchase. So I sized up the opportunity, I took the risk, and made the jump. And it was scary.
He is one of the most superb risk evaluators of any client that I have ever worked with. What he's done is he has essentially grown a business from a very small couple of station operations up to a 1,500 employee organization.
With Shell, it looks like I really knew the industry was going to change so dramatically and be disrupted by the movement from service station dealers to self-service convenience stores where people pump their own gas. And I was right at that point where I had that opportunity.
To me, it's sort of the story of Greenville. What I like to think about as a story of Greenville is you get people who care about the place, who understand about business, and who want to make the place around them more valuable.
When you think of Greenville and the things he's been involved with, Unity Park, the baseball stadium, he's able to lend credibility and leadership to those efforts.
He loves his family the most. I think he loves his employees second most. I didn't realize he's the largest South Carolina-based retailer in South Carolina.
From the very get-go, he said, I'm going to support the community that supports me. Early on, he had a goal of giving away 10% of his profits to local things in the community. And he's just been consistent over a 50-year period in doing that.
Every couple of weeks, it seems like there'll be some charitable event, there'll be a road race, there'll be a this, there'll be a that, and Spinks is one of the lead sponsors.
He has met and served as a mentor for lots of people. Then his personal legacy by creating a family foundation. If you look at the range of what the Spinks Family Foundation gives to, I mean, it's hundreds of organizations, millions of dollars. So it's really a significant contributor here in the community.
His company motto is making life easier. And again, I think that's sort of a nice summation of what he has done within the industry and for his customer base.
Just to watch him start here, grow here, become a big success here, and then turn it over to another generation is just, it's the perfect Greenville story, I think. I'm just glad he picked Greenville to move to, and South Carolina should be glad he picked South Carolina to move to.
It's a thrill to be recognized, and it's when I say it's undeserving, I really feel in many ways there are so many others that within this company that made it happen. I'm just happened to be the guy that got the ball rolling.
Please welcome Mr. Stuart Spinks into the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame.
Wow. Thank you, Todd. Thank you to this whole organization, Junior Achievement, the basic principles of country, and certainly, you know, what our state embodies in terms of people. Thank you for those that voted for me. I kind of caught a glimpse. It must be Bob Hughes is one of them, so thank you, Bob. Of course, Minor gave me a call to announce it. Thank you very much, Minor. I don't know who else was involved. I do know who's been involved in my life for 56 years, and that's my wife, Martha, and thank you very much for the support. I've made the right first choice in my life, so thank you, Martha. If you would stand. She tried to get me to not ask her to stand, but George has set the precedent here, so I can't do it, honey. I'm sorry. I sometimes have to yield to the folks that seem to make the right moves, as George obviously did. Also, I'd like to recognize my son, who's been the CEO of the company now for over 20 years and has taken the company to where I said in the interview that the company is today, and his wife, Allison. Steve, Allison, again, if you would stand. I do think that the environment that the state of South Carolina, and in particular in my case, I can speak specifically to the upstate, is one of collegiality. I really felt when I started my business and I had the great opportunity to have so many people that reached out to provide help and assistance and advice, because I was really reaching out. I started the company when I was 26 years old. It was very small, as I indicated, but it's, as was said earlier, we've got now over 1,600 associates in over 91 locations, or 91 and a couple under construction. I lose count on that. But it's a thrill to have that opportunity. And again, people pull for me to be successful, whether they were in Spartanburg, whether they were in Greenville, whether they were and ultimately now we've spread out to Charleston, but I can clearly say that atmosphere is right in this, in this state and in this community, and many of the leaders, many of the people in this room, pat yourselves on the back, because a guy like me that can start with one service station, and to all the Junior Achievement and the young people that spoke so well today about their thrill to be involved with JA. Let me say this is the right place to be and the right environment to be in. And just for me anyway, my responsibility is to perpetuate that and give those opportunities to people to become self-sufficient, to become entrepreneurs, to have the opportunities that are afforded to those of us that are honorees. And So I'm so proud and so honored and really so undeserving in many ways. But, you know, good things happen if you keep just taking a little bit of risk, and opportunity presents itself and you seize it. One of the things I get questioned on often is, how in the world did you decide to leave a major corporation? George and I both served in the military about the same time. When I read a little bit about him in the resume, I was in Army Reserves also from 68 to 74, so we both served our country. And in the meantime, we were both working all that time. So work, my parents obviously set that example for me. My dad was an automobile mechanic, worked during the day, worked at the Linwood Hospital in Augusta, Georgia as a night orderly on third shift. My mom worked second shift at the Richmond Hotel. So basically, they were working 24 hours a day. So, you know, work is a kind of a natural part of my upbringing and in my life. So I try in my best ways to encourage people to, in my family as well as in the company, to look and have fun with what you're doing, because it's one of the real key things about life is have fun with what you're doing. Find a way, no matter what it is. Whatever job you're given is the very most important job in the world right now. And if you do it well, you'll look around, people will notice, and you'll get other opportunities. That's the L in my name is lucky. When you look at it, Lucky Stewart Spinks. Now, some would say it's Lecture Stewart Spinks, but that's the family. So, you know, George, they do that sometimes. They'll do that. But again, thank you so much to you folks and for the environment that you create in this state. And call on me if I'm worthy enough for you to call on me as time goes on. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Spinks, for all that you have given back to South Carolina and all your many contributions. Welcome to the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame. Our last honoree is Mrs. Kim Wilkerson, who is the South Carolina President of Bank of America.
When I think of Kim Wilkerson, I just think of strength, grace, leadership.
That warmth, that positive energy, the personal humility.
She loves that she is from South Carolina, and her roots are here. She loves this state.
I had parents who really told me I could be anything in the world I wanted to be when I grew up. My dad is retired from Eastman Chemical Company, and we got relocated to South Carolina when I was 8 years old. My daddy and I would sit at the kitchen table at night and do our homework together as he worked on engineering projects. Mama taught me to love really, really big. She cared a lot about people. I had a Clemson professor who knew me really, really well. Dr. Woodside came to me and he said, "Kim, you are going to be a perfectly miserable accountant. Have you ever thought about going into banking?" Went and interviewed the next week with 2 different banks and accepted an offer from Bankers Trust of South Carolina. I was very, very lucky to join a bank that was about diversity and inclusion way before diversity and inclusion was something you talked about.
She really wore our brand on her shoulder, and she did it with passion every single day. It was a great example for so many women across the bank, across the financial services industry, and certainly in local communities.
To be the first female president of a bank in South Carolina was a huge feat, but to be great at being the first, to actually hold the ladder down for others that come after you, that's who Kim is.
I have had the opportunity to have a lot of firsts. I also think about how incredible it is today that women coming along in their careers have the opportunity really to do anything.
It's always about serving others, making a difference in our communities, providing a better path to a better future for other people. That's what drives her.
She was so intentional around her diversity and inclusion work and making sure that she was sponsoring women and mentoring women and bringing them into financial services.
She's always been a leader in business, whether it's with the Bankers Association, whether it's with the Chamber, in bringing those businesses together. And I think as a governor, it was really important to always have leaders who got that.
If I think back just to last year, 2022, we lent $2.5 billion in loans to commercial businesses and small businesses. And Kim leads that effort.
She is the definition of all in. It's a blessing to have Kim on our board. I mean, she's a phenomenal person, she's a phenomenal leader, and she's a great chair.
She's got an orange heart. She very much knows that what we experienced at Clemson as students, that love of the university that makes you want to have your family members go and keep returning back, needs to go forward. When you look at the success of Kim, you can't not look at Avery.
I am married to the love of my life, and I would never have been able to do any of this without his love and support.
Kim has worked hard to make sure that family comes first, and you can see that in the relationship she has with her sons, and you can see that in the relationship she has with her grandchildren. And then she shows up at work, and she's a force at work, and that combination is magic.
The South Carolina bankers were doing an article on me after I'd been state president for 10 years. And they asked me who had made a difference in my career. And I was talking about people like Hootie and Joel Smith. And it really is special to have had great leaders who took the time to tell a really young baby banker that they were making a difference.
She makes me proud as a woman. She makes me proud as a Clemson Tiger. She makes me proud as a South Carolinian. I know for a fact South Carolina is a better state because of Kim Wilkerson.
She's somebody I really look up to, somebody I just love to be around, somebody you feel good when you're with her, and she's got a really big heart. I mean, she cares. She's just a good person.
I think of that warmth and that first night I met her and how welcoming she was. She brought that passion to everything that she did, and she made this a better company.
I am so fortunate to have been surrounded by great leaders across the span of my career who taught me so many amazing things, and to have worked for a company that valued me as a person. So I am honored beyond words, incredibly humbled, and really, really, really grateful.
Please welcome Mrs. Kim Wilkerson to the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame.
So, a little girl from Casey, South Carolina, could have never imagined this would come true. I am incredibly grateful to everyone at Junior Achievement that had anything to do with this. And I feel like I'm walking in the shadow of banking giants that I had the privilege of working with who are also laureates. So Hugh McCall, Joel Smith, and Hootie Johnson. George and Stewart, I offer both of you my heartfelt congratulations. I have known these men for nearly 4 decades. Your leadership is spectacular, and you are incredibly deserving. They welcomed a baby banker into their offices and taught me a lot. For just a minute, I'd like for you to allow me time to talk to the next generation of leadership that happens to be here in this audience tonight. You know, when I think about the legacy of leadership, it is a really big deal. In fact, while I was cleaning out my office, because I'm retiring next week, I found a book that Diane Chinnis and Bob Pierce gave me when I became the state president for the bank here in South Carolina. The book was entitled Legacy of Leadership. and they had autographed the book for me. And in it they said, "Congratulations to Bank of America and to you as you start your legacy of leadership." Never did I dream that I would be standing on this stage tonight. But in this audience tonight are next-gen leaders that will one day be recognized right here on this stage. My charge to you is to love what you do, lift as you climb, and to remember that God gives you a fingerprint no one else has, so that you can leave an imprint no one else can. Now I'm going to ask you to bear with me as I recognize the three families that are with me tonight: my Bank of America family, my Clemson family, and my heart, my immediate family. To my Bank of America family, I would like for you all to stand. There are lots of them here tonight. Saying thank you is simply inadequate. I have worked over 4 decades with the absolute best professionals in the business. I'm being honored tonight because of you, because of your love, your support, your being with me through thick and thin, you allowing me to be out in the community doing the things that I love, and all of you make this world a better place. As a young Southern woman, fresh out of college, coming into banking, which was a male-dominated industry at the time, I was a little bit of a fish out of water. Now, our company is incredibly diverse, and I couldn't be prouder. I am eternally grateful to all of you. Now, you are the keepers of the why. Keep it going. Now to my Clemson family. I'd like to ask my Clemson family to please stand. Because of you, I graduated from Clemson believing the world was my stage, and my Clemson experience provided me the confidence to go out into the world to try to make a difference. To my friends and colleagues on the Board of Trustees, I want you to know how much I appreciate each and every one of you, your love for our university, and your focus on keeping Clemson, Clemson. I treasure your friendship. It is the honor of my life to serve with you. Go Tigers. Now the hard part, my family. I am joined tonight by my siblings, their spouses, my daddy, and my immediate family. Y'all are my heart. I want y'all to stand and be recognized. Stand up. Avery, Bland, and Allen, you took the brunt of my career and were there every step of the journey. You supported me and you loved me, and for that I will be always grateful. Avery, God did a really good day's work when he put you in my life. You truly are the love of my life, and I look forward to our next journey together. Hold my hand and let's go see the world. By the way, I know you're looking forward to teaching me how to load the dishwasher, do laundry, and go to the grocery store again. Bland, Katie, Alan, Elizabeth, Ab, Aiden, and Ellie, I'm so very lucky to call you mine. I look forward with great anticipation and joy to spending more time making memories with all of you. And I've held a lot of titles, but I have to tell you, the ones I value most are Mom and Nana. As I retire next week, a wise person once told me, we say goodbye to yesterday by choosing to focus on tomorrow's promise. Or as my favorite football coach likes to say, the best is yet to come. So next Wednesday, I will set off on a new journey. I don't know what that journey looks like, but I do know this: God isn't finished with me yet. Thank you for this honor. I am indeed humbled. Thank you.
Kim, thank you for your many contributions to women in the banking industry and beyond, to the state of South Carolina, and just banking in general. Thank you and welcome to the Hall of Fame. Y'all be seated. More than ever, our young people here and nationwide, the next generation of workers and business leaders, desperately need the skills JA teaches, the skill sets and mindsets that build thriving communities. We hope that one day our students will be able to effectively compete in this rapidly changing global world and perhaps themselves be a role model like our Hall of Fame laureates. Tonight, we honored 3 great business leaders who have all made lasting impacts on the state of South Carolina. Through their legacies, the future will be inspired. At this time, I would like to take a moment to toast to the legacies that these honorees have made in our state. You should have glasses of champagne at your table.
Are we supposed to put the champagne in here?
So, to these 3 wonderful honorees, cheers and congratulations. It's now my privilege to invite to the stage the chairwoman of Junior Achievement of Greater South Carolina Board of Directors, Anne Marie Feeney, and Junior Achievement Student Ambassador, Hannah Thomas.
You're welcome to leave. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you. Well, what an incredible night. I am just so thrilled to be here and honored to be able to, appreciate these leaders in our community. We're so fortunate to have them in South Carolina. I have the privilege tonight to share the stage with one of our student ambassadors. This is Hannah Thomas. She's a 4th grader at Geezer Elementary in Ridgeway. Hannah has participated with Junior Achievement since she was in kindergarten. And each year, the program has been taught by her grandmother, Gloria Thomas, who's here tonight. So let's hear a few words from Hannah.
What a great night tonight has been. I've enjoyed being here to represent over 35,000 students who have received Junior Achievement programming in the state of South Carolina last year. What I didn't realize until tonight is that there are students just like me who aspire to be the best we can be. I'm growing up in Fairfield County, and I want to share a GA story with you about a GA alumni who also grew up in Fairfield County, Kanisha.
So what do you think your life would have been like if you hadn't had Junior Achievement?
That question actually makes me a little bit more emotional than I realized. So the family I grew up with, came from a really big family, and my parents, neither of them graduated high school. My mom dropped out in the 11th grade, my dad in the 6th grade. And I would not have been exposed to the things that I learned through Junior Achievement. I wouldn't have been exposed to the people that have really made a difference in my life. And when I went home to my parents to ask about the stock market, because I hadn't heard about it before then, they said that was for rich people. So I studied all things stock investing. It was probably the largest influence on what I do now. As I mentioned, I just was so passionate about it and learned so much that I actually went on my own and bought Personal Investing and Stock Investing for Dummies books. My family I grew up with no indoor plumbing, so I had a dream that I would be able to help my family, get their own home, right? Get a home that had indoor plumbing. And if I wouldn't have been in this career, if I wouldn't have learned the things I learned in Junior Achievement, I don't know that that would have been possible. And whether you're teaching it and learning it by teaching it, or whether you're coming across a student like a Kenesha, right, that really picks up on that material and takes it home to their families, or keeps it and does something with it like I did, it is just so important to learn those skills. My parents have since both passed away, but we did help them build their first home in the early 2000s, and I don't know that I could have done it without everything I learned from Junior Achievement.
As you can see, Kenesha was inspired by Junior Achievement, and tonight I was inspired by Mr. Fennell, Mr. Spinks, and Ms. Wilkerson. One day, I can own my own business, or even be the statewide president of a bank. These honorees truly have helped inspire me and my fellow student ambassadors. After tonight, I know that I can do anything I set my mind to. The future is bright for students like me in South Carolina to truly build thriving communities.
Thank you. Well, as you can see, her passion and energy is contagious, and there are many more Hannahs out there who need to be inspired to help us to build thriving communities throughout the state. With the help of the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame, Junior Achievement does just that. The funding from this event allows us to visit more classrooms, to open doors to students, to teach life and business schools, including financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship. In the near future, every student in South Carolina will be required to complete a semester of personal finance to graduate. And Junior Achievement is on the forefront to help with this, including a new program called JA Finance Park. Even with funding and new programs, we cannot achieve our mission without people like you. And Junior Achievement needs volunteers just like you to go into the classroom to teach the next Kenesha and Hannah. Every one of us can inspire the next generation of our workforce. Your stories and experiences, coupled with our curriculum, will allow you to make a difference with the workforce of South Carolina in our future. So in closing, our work is not complete here tonight. We ask that you seriously consider joining us as we continue to inspire the next Mr. Fennell, Mr. Spinks, and Mrs. Wilkerson. Congratulations again to our 3 deserving laureates, and may their work continue to inspire the future. Let's hear from our students one more time.
Tonight we learned about how 3 laureates
have built communities here in South Carolina.
Junior Achievement is teaching me
And 35,000 other students in South Carolina
how to build thriving communities.
Junior Achievement and
The South Carolina Business Hall of Fame cannot do it without your support.
Thank you for coming tonight, and we will see you next year.
Thank you for celebrating this very special evening. I hope you have a safe trip home, and we'll see you next year. Thank you.